Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm having a little trouble letting go of Halloween. Let's review. Last week I suggested that one reason Jesus may be portrayed as young and beautiful in his death is because he's identified as the Paschal Lamb. And the Paschal Lamb is supposed to be young, male, and without spot or blemish. We saw how that convention seemed to spill over into other key murders that move the biblical story along. The death of Abel at the hands of his brother Cain, and the near death of Isaac at the hands of his father Abraham. Now the Bible gives us no information about the age or appearance of Cain, or Abel, or Isaac. We know that Cain is the firstborn, but we don't know how much later Abel comes along, and we know nothing of what they look like. And yet a convention emerges over centuries of depicting the two of them in art. Cain is taller, bearded, and swarthier. Abel is clean-shaven, smaller, and fair. Here's an example from 15th century Germany. And here are a few more. As you can see, it remains a convention over centuries of depictions. Even Lego gets in on it. A similar convention evolves in depictions of Isaac. Abraham gives Isaac the wood to carry, but carries the knife and fire himself, keeping the dangerous things away from his son until the last moment. So we can assume that the biblical author pictures Isaac as very young, probably between 8 and 12. But no one wants to see a child about to be offered as a human sacrifice, so in the history of art, Isaac becomes both older and hotter. Here's a reminder from last week. Of course, if Isaac were really that buff, he could just shove Dad out of the way and head back down the mountain. So the passivity of this beautiful young man becomes part of his appeal. He submits himself to be pierced by Abraham's knife as well as by our gaze. In the image of the dead Abel, we see something similar. The very qualities of youth and beauty that would accord him privilege in our society are reduced to objects for our erotic adoration. Remember, both Abel and Isaac are considered types or prefigurements of Jesus, whose pale, perfect flesh the Church also invites us to gaze upon. So I have some thoughts about these pairings of the darker, older, bearded man and the younger, clean-shaven, beautiful man. Why is there something about the logic of this coupling that lends itself to the depiction of other biblical pairs whose age and appearance aren't described, like Cain and Abel, and Abraham and Isaac? I think it derives from the convention of pederastia, the idealization of man-boy love immortalized in ancient Greek art. Today we use the word pederasty to describe a crime and a perversion, but the proliferation of images like these in Greek art show that the society that most shaped the Western world didn't think of it that way. The older, bearded man, the Erastes or lover, courted a beautiful younger man of his choice, the Eromenos or beloved, and mentored him until the age when the young man's own beard came in. The relationship was romantic, but not necessarily sexual, because even the Greeks thought a man who allowed his circle to be pierced by a stick had made a woman of himself, and that wasn't cool. But when the Christians came in and made such relationships sinful, they still seemed to like the idea of how the pairing looked. After all, we have no idea what age the Apostle John might have been, or what he might have looked like, but in his capacity as the disciple whom Jesus loved, he carries on the convention of pederastia. Take a look at this Last Supper by Juan de Juanes, painted around 1560. Is the beloved disciple, there on Jesus' right, adoring the host, or Jesus? Theologically, the same thing, of course, but visually, a different story is being told. That's all for this week. Hope to see you again next Tuesday. Remember, you can find earlier talks archived on our YouTube channel. There's a link on the Facebook page for this event. Bye!